You ever have a woman come up to you and say like, because of you and your movie, I became a hooker or anything like that? You want to know the truth? When I saw it with her. When's the last time you saw that movie yourself? Welcome to Stars Rewind. Richard Gere, a cinematic icon with his charming looks and famous roles in Pretty Woman and An Officer and a Gentleman, may appear to the public as the image of a perfect star, a dashing gentleman. But behind that smile, Richard's life has been a series of contradictions between fame and inner peace. Under the dazzling stage lights, he had to fight through hardships, from turbulent love affairs to human rights struggles, where he boldly confronted powerful forces in the name of justice. What drove a man like Richard with a glorious career to choose a risky path full of sacrifices for humanitarian values? Join us as we explore the emotional and complex story of Richard Gere, not just through his remarkable career, but also through the quiet, meaningful moments of his personal life to better understand the real man behind the spotlight. Early life. Richard Gere was born on August 31st, 1949, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, into a family with a deep moral foundation. His father, Homer George Gere, was a man full of dreams, who once aspired to become a minister, but ultimately chose insurance to support the family. His mother, Doris Ann, was a dedicated homemaker, devoting her life to caring for her children and building a warm home. Richard was the second of 5 children, and from an early age, he felt the great responsibility that his family's expectations placed upon him. Growing up in Syracuse, New York, where his family moved when Richard was young, he was raised in a strict religious environment of the Methodist faith. The Gere family lived by traditional moral and spiritual rules, which deeply influenced Richard's worldview and approach to life. Values like integrity, loyalty, and humility were highly regarded in the family, forming a strong moral foundation for Richard. However, at the same time, he also felt the pressure of the molds that his family and society expected him to conform to. From a young age, Richard displayed remarkable talents, particularly in music and sports. As an energetic and artistically sensitive boy, he quickly became an outstanding gymnast at school. Alongside that, he also shone with his trumpet-playing skills, an instrument that required finesse and technique. Music was not only a hobby but became a passion for him, helping him relieve the invisible pressures of living up to his family's expectations. In the moments when he lost himself in music, Richard felt free and truly himself. During his at North Syracuse Central High School, Richard excelled academically and was also the star athlete. His gymnastics prowess earned him a sports scholarship to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, a proud achievement for a young man from a middle-class family. Despite his success in sports, Richard never truly found complete joy in chasing achievements or earning titles. For him, the inner desire to explore himself and the wider world constantly pushed him from within. At the University of Massachusetts, Richard chose to major in philosophy, a field he felt would help him delve deeper into the nature of life and humanity. However, after 2 years of study, Richard realized that academia couldn't satisfy his inner search for art. He decided to drop out of school to pursue his passion for theater and film, even though he knew this might disappoint his family. Early career. After leaving the University of Massachusetts Amherst, he moved to Seattle and joined the city's repertory theater, where he first stepped onto the stage in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. His early roles weren't the leads, but to him, they were opportunities to learn and hone his craft, to feel the world of theater, and to find his own voice. In 1973, Richard got his first big break when he landed the lead role in the original London production of the famous musical Grease. This was a turning point in his career, not only because it was the first time he was publicly recognized, but also because it helped Richard establish himself on the international stage. With his charisma and boundless energy, he captivated London audiences, laying the foundation for a solid career. However, not everything went smoothly. When he returned to the U.S. to star in The Lords of Flatbush in 1974, things suddenly stalled. A conflict with co-star Sylvester Stallone led to Richard being replaced, and the opportunity slipped through his fingers. This failure hit hard, forcing him to confront the question of whether he truly belonged in the world of cinema. But Richard didn't give up. He continued seeking opportunities, and in 1977, he began attracting Hollywood's attention with his role in Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Although the film didn't achieve major commercial success, Richard made a strong impression with his authentic and deep acting. This was also when he started making a name for himself with his role in Days of Heaven, 1978, a film by the renowned director Terrence Malick, where he showcased his subtle ability to inhabit complex and haunting characters. Though he wasn't yet a major star, these roles helped Richard find his place in the film industry. More importantly, they revealed his determination and unwavering commitment. Behind every success were drops of sweat, patience in waiting, and an intense belief in himself. While many might have crumbled under the weight of early failures, Richard chose to stand up and keep moving forward, continually searching for his own path. In the late 1970s, he made a bold decision to take on the role of a gay Holocaust victim in the Broadway play Bent. At a time when society was not ready to accept such roles, Richard did not hesitate to take risks. This role not only challenged him as an actor, but also as a person, as he broke conventional norms to deliver a powerful and emotional performance. This decision earned him the Theatre World Award, marking an important milestone in his theater career and affirming his position as an actor willing to break through and challenge societal barriers. The rise to fame. By the 1980s, Richard truly reached the pinnacle of fame with the film American Gigolo. It was the decisive moment that turned him from a promising actor into a Hollywood icon. With his portrayal of Julian Kay, a charismatic and mysterious male escort, Richard became unforgettable to audiences. American Gigolo was not only a box office success, but also a powerful boost that made Richard Gere a household name. His cool demeanor, deep-set eyes, and irresistible charm left a strong impression, making Richard Gere the embodiment of allure. However, he didn't stop there. He quickly solidified his status with An Officer and a Gentleman, 1982, another classic film that marked a major leap in his career. His portrayal of Zach Mayo, a naval officer candidate with ambitions, not only won him millions of fans, but also earned him his first Golden Globe nomination. This film beautifully combined love, the harshness of military life, and the main character's journey of self-discovery, a role that showed Richard wasn't just a captivating presence, but also a superb actor. An Officer and a Gentleman demonstrated that Richard wasn't afraid to take on emotionally multi-layered roles, and he did it perfectly. Soon after, Richard continued to prove his versatility with Internal Affairs, 1990, a psychological crime thriller. His role as Raymond Avila, a corrupt internal affairs officer with dark secrets, highlighted the psychological depth of Richard's acting. Here, audiences saw a different Richard Gere, not the charming, polished figure of his previous roles, but a complex, calculating, and unpredictable character. Internal Affairs was a turning point in his career, showing that Richard could immerse himself in psychologically challenging roles and continuously push himself in new film genres. But the biggest hit of Richard Gere's career was Pretty Woman, 1990. This film wasn't just a phenomenon, it elevated Richard Gere's name to new heights, making him one of Hollywood's top romantic stars. As Edward Lewis, a wealthy, cold-hearted businessman full of emotions, Richard created a romantic and heartfelt relationship with Vivian Ward, played by Julia Roberts. Pretty Woman was the perfect blend of romance and humor, and Richard's performance melted the hearts of millions around the world. Not only a commercial success, the film became an iconic romantic comedy and cemented Richard Gere as one of the most beloved actors of all time. Richard continued to demonstrate his diverse talent with memorable roles in subsequent films. Primal Fear, 1996, was one of the classic psychological thrillers where Richard played a cunning, ambitious defense lawyer facing a complex case. This role confirmed that Richard wasn't confined to romantic roles but could transform into sharp, intelligent, and calculating characters. His performance in this film showcased his versatility, allowing audiences to feel the deep psychological evolution of his character through every frame. In Runaway Bride, 1999, Richard reunited with Julia Roberts in another romantic comedy. The combination of these two stars created strong box office appeal, making the film one of the most memorable romantic comedies of the 1990s. Even though Runaway Bride's story wasn't groundbreaking, the talent and chemistry between Richard and Julia brought deep emotions to the audience. Not stopping at commercial success, Richard Gere also left a big mark with Chicago, 2002, a classic musical film. As the lawyer Billy Flynn, Richard didn't just showcase his acting talent but also impressed with his singing and dancing abilities. Chicago not only won the Academy Award for Best Picture but also brought Richard his first Golden Globe Award, a major turning point, affirming that he wasn't just a movie star but a truly multi-talented artist. Although Richard Gere achieved great success in his career, his path wasn't always lined with roses. Bold decisions in role choices and the struggle to maintain both commercial and artistic success created a challenging journey. One of the biggest challenges Richard faced was balancing market demands with his personal desire for roles with depth, requiring him to show various aspects of his acting. In the late 1970s, after establishing his reputation with Days of Heaven, Richard Gere decided to challenge himself with difficult roles, leading him to the daring choice in the film Bent, 1979. During a time when playing a gay Holocaust victim was a risky move for any actor, especially with society not fully accepting or understanding the LGBTQ+ community, Richard bravely embraced the challenge and portrayed Max, a gay man persecuted during the Nazi era. Taking this role not only showed Richard's commitment to the art, but also demonstrated his courage in taking on roles that carried significant social and political weight. Bent was a story of survival, love, and honor amidst the horrors of the Holocaust. The film was not only artistically rich, but also a powerful message about human rights, love, and resistance. Even at a time when accepting such a role could put an actor's career at risk, Richard chose the path of art and accepted all the risks. With Bent, Richard Gere didn't just show his diversity in acting but also proved his ability to deeply immerse himself in complex and painful characters. Max's role in Bent helped solidify his reputation not only in the eyes of the audience but also among critics as he stepped out of his comfort zone to tackle a role requiring much sensitivity and understanding. However, not every film Richard chose was commercially successful. Such bold decisions sometimes led to mixed reactions from the public and even box office setbacks. But for Richard, that was an indispensable part of pursuing a genuine acting career. He constantly sought to balance the need for public entertainment with maintaining his artistic values. Taking the role in Bent was proof of his philosophy, not fearing risks, daring to face challenges, and putting art first. Personal life. Richard Gere's love life has spanned deep and complex relationships. In the 1970s, he was in a relationship with actress Penelope Milford. Their romance lasted 7 years, from 1971 to 1978, during a period when Richard Gere was gradually establishing his name in the film industry. Penelope was by his side during those early difficult years when he was still an unknown actor. Although they didn't marry, this relationship left many deep memories, marking the first phase of Richard's rich love life. After breaking up with Penelope, Richard Gere continued to be involved in relationships with famous stars, notably his relationship with Priscilla Presley, the ex-wife of the King of Rock, Elvis Presley. Although this romance didn't last long, the pairing of Richard and Priscilla attracted significant public attention, becoming a hot topic in the media at the time. Following this, he was also rumored to have relationships with other famous women, such as Tuesday Weld, Carol Mallory, and Brazilian supermodel Sylvia Martins. But perhaps the most famous and shocking relationship of Richard Gere in the 1990s was with the world's top supermodel, Cindy Crawford. The two met in 1988 at a party hosted by famous photographer Herb Ritts. Cindy, at the time, was 22 years old and a rising star in the fashion world, while Richard was already an established actor at 37. Despite the 17-year age difference, they quickly fell for each other. They soon became one of Hollywood's power couples, attracting attention from the media and fans alike. In 1991, in a surprise and intimate ceremony in Las Vegas, Richard and Cindy officially became husband and wife. However, their marriage only lasted 4 years before they split in 1995. Cindy later shared that the age difference and their different lifestyles caused many difficulties in their relationship. At 22, she was still discovering herself and her career, while Richard was at a different stage in life, seeking a more stable family life. After his divorce from Cindy Crawford, Richard Gere entered a new phase of his love life with actress Carrie Lowell. They met in the late 1990s, and the relationship quickly developed into a deep love. In 2000, they welcomed their first son, Homer James Jigme Gere, a name with special significance both to honor Richard's father and to reflect his faith in Tibetan Buddhism. Richard and Carrie's early family life was peaceful, as they spent much time together and cared for their young son. In 2002, Richard and Carrie officially married in a warm ceremony, affirming their love after many years together. However, after more than a decade together, their marriage also faced difficulties. Richard sought quiet and privacy, while Carrie wanted a more vibrant social life. The lifestyle differences gradually caused them to drift apart, and they decided to separate in 2013. The divorce dragged on for 3 years due to disputes over assets and child custody, but was eventually settled in 2016. Despite going through 2 challenging marriages and several failed relationships, Richard Gere never gave up hope of finding true love. In 2015, he reconnected with Alejandra Silva, a Spanish social activist. Alejandra is the daughter of Ignacio Silva, former vice president of the Real Madrid Football Club, and had long been involved in humanitarian activities. The two had known each other for many years before reuniting at the Taormina Film Festival in 2015. From there, their relationship quickly blossomed into a deep romantic love story. Despite the 33-year age difference, Richard and Alejandra found harmony in their shared passion for social and humanitarian causes. In 2018, Richard and Alejandra secretly held a warm wedding at their home in New York. Alejandra brought Richard a fresh energy, helping him find peace and happiness after life's ups and downs. Just a year after their wedding, they welcomed their first son, Alexander, in February 2019. In 2020, their family continued to grow with the birth of their second son. Both expressed their happiness and fulfillment in having a warm, loving family. Alejandra Silva has shared that she feels like she's in a fairy tale with Richard. She continually praises him as the most wonderful, funny, and thoughtful man she's ever met. In return, Richard has also shared deep loving words for his wife, who has helped him find true happiness in life. Every morning, Richard asks Alejandra what would make her happy that day, and he always strives to create small but meaningful moments to sustain their love. The love between Richard and Alejandra is a clear testament that despite age differences or past hardships, true happiness and love can always be found when both partners are willing to share and care for each other. Charity work beyond his illustrious acting career, Richard Gere is also known for his kindness and extensive charitable work, which he has persistently pursued for decades. Notably, he is renowned for his tireless commitment to human rights and dedication to global charitable efforts. Since the 1970s, Richard began his journey to explore and follow Tibetan Buddhism. His trip to Nepal in 1978 to meet Tibetan monks and lamas became a major turning point in his spiritual life. His encounter with the Dalai Lama not only changed Richard's worldview, but also inspired him to become an active advocate for freedom and human rights in Tibet. He has been a loyal supporter of the Tibetan independence movement and has used his fame to raise awareness about the struggle of the Tibetan people under Chinese rule. Richard Gere co-founded the Tibet House US and established the Richard Gere Foundation to raise funds for charitable programs related to Tibet. He also serves as chairman of the board of directors of the International Campaign for Tibet, a non-profit organization dedicated to protecting the rights and culture of the Tibetan people. Although he has been banned from entering China due to his opposition to its government, Richard remains steadfast in his stance, using his voice and influence to fight for human rights, even knowing that this has significantly impacted his Hollywood career. In addition to his work supporting Tibet, Richard Gere is also actively involved in campaigns against HIV/AIDS, protecting indigenous tribes, and environmental conservation. He is a key board member of Survival International, an international organization focused on protecting the rights and territories of indigenous communities around the world. Additionally, Richard has contributed to the establishment of the AIDS Care Home in India, a special care facility for women and children affected by HIV/AIDS. He has also spent considerable time and resources supporting campaigns to raise awareness about HIV/AIDS, particularly in impoverished regions of India. Richard Gere's current life has changed significantly as he has chosen to focus on personal and charitable projects rather than his film career. While he no longer appears as frequently on the big screen as before, he continues to participate in independent films, bringing roles that are deeply layered and showcase his maturity as an actor. The film Norman 2016 is a clear example, as his role in this political drama received much praise from critics, showing that he remains one of the most talented and dedicated actors in the film industry. His latest film, O Canada, premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024. In the film, Richard Gere plays Leonard Fife, a renowned documentary filmmaker who, facing terminal cancer, decides to reveal his final secrets. This film is a collaboration with director Paul Schrader, with whom Gere previously worked on the famous American Gigolo, although he no longer spends much time under the Hollywood spotlight, focusing more on family life, charity projects, and personal endeavors. Richard Gere's immense contributions to cinema and society have left an indelible mark in the hearts of the public. He is not only admired for his acting talent, but also for his compassion and dedication to humanitarian causes worldwide. His life is a testament to how a star can shine not only on screen, but also leave a deep, meaningful impact through his actions in life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more exciting content. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next video. Goodbye.